In a small town in England, there are twin sisters named Abby and Lily. Today is their last day of school. Their mother, Eve, works as a nurse. Even though they are twins, their personalities could not be more different. Lily is social and outgoing, while Abby is quiet and more of a nerd. At school, Lily runs into her boyfriend and spends time with him. Abby, on the other hand, heads to her English class to meet her teacher, Rick. She talks about her plan to go to university in another city, especially since she is a top student. Still, she feels torn, worried that her mother and Lily might be sad if she leaves. Rick praises Abby as his best student and encourages her to aim for the best university possible. Since it is the last day of school, he gives her a book as a gift.
Seeing as it's my last day as your English teacher, you can start calling me Rick now.
After school ends, Lily meets up with her boyfriend, Wes, and they make plans to see each other later that afternoon. Time passes and both sisters are back home. Abby starts reading the book Rick gave her, while Lily gets ready to meet Wes. That night, the family is supposed to have a graduation dinner, and Lily promises she will be home in time. Despite their differences, the sisters truly care about each other. Lily leaves the house on foot, unaware that someone is watching her from a car nearby. She heads to an abandoned building where a group of popular kids often hang out. Lily and Wes are part of this crowd, and the night quickly turns into drinking and drug use. Back at home, Abby feels lonely. Eve calls to say dinner is postponed because she has to work late. There is no food in the house, and Abby is bored. Out of curiosity, she puts on Lily's clothes and even uses her makeup without permission. Abby may not be outgoing, but she still wants to feel pretty. She then leaves the house, not knowing the same person who had been watching Lily is still nearby. This time, the real target turns out to be Abby, and she is followed. Abby goes to the same abandoned building where Lily is hanging out. Since Abby never spends time with this group, Lily is surprised to see her. Wanting to protect her sister, Lily makes sure Abby is not offered any drugs. Abby says she just wants to hang out, but Lily finds it strange because Abby never does this. Abby explains that she felt lonely at home, but Lily does not want to be blamed for it. Abby realizes Lily is using drugs, but Lily denies it. Abby assumes Lily's friends are pressuring her, yet Lily insists it is not a big deal. When Wes greets Abby, Lily quickly says that Abby is about to leave. Abby cannot understand why Lily does not want her to stay and join the party. Lily knows Abby plans to study out of town, but never comments on it. Instead, she mocks Abby for wearing her jacket and makeup.
Take it off! Do you really think he's all that? Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot you like older men.
Abby begins to question whether this is the life Lily wants forever, wasting time with people going nowhere. Lily snaps, angry that Abby insults her friends, and forcefully takes back the jacket Abby is wearing. She also lashes out by mocking Abby for having feelings for Rick. Abby, hurt and frustrated, fires back, suggesting Lily will only become a burden on society, and hands the jacket back. The tension explodes into a full-blown argument. Abby believes Lily will end up just like their mother, stuck in this town with no future. The words cut deep. Lily loses her temper and slaps Abby, then immediately regrets it. Abby says she hates Lily. Overcome with guilt, Lily leaves the place. Instead of going after her, Wes stays behind and continues partying. Lily puts on the jacket Abby had been wearing earlier and starts walking home alone. Before long, a car pulls up and offers her a ride. The driver turns out to be Rick. He agrees to take her home, not realizing at first that he has picked up Lily instead of Abby. This is Girl Taken.
Hello, baby doll.
As they drive, Lily grows uneasy when Rick passes the turn toward her house. She tries to correct him again and again, but he keeps driving.
That's okay, I can just jump out here.
When they reach a quiet, isolated area, Rick stops the car. The doors are locked and Lily cannot get out. Rick attacks her and knocks her unconscious. After she passes out, he casually throws her phone onto the side of the road and drives away. Meanwhile, Abby makes it home. Eve tells her that Lily has not returned yet, but neither of them is too concerned since Lily often comes home late. In the middle of the night, Abby wakes up and realizes Lily still has not come back. She wakes her mother, fearing something may have happened. Soon after, Eve reports Lily missing to the police. 2 days later, they meet Detective Tommy and his partner Rachel. Tommy explains that Lily's phone was found by the roadside and is being examined. So far, it is the only lead. The police ask Abby what she was doing at the hangout spot that night. Abby insists it was not a party, just a few kids hanging out. Tommy mentions that one of them was Lily's boyfriend, Wes. He has already been questioned and has a solid alibi, so he is ruled out as a suspect. Rachel asks whether drugs were being used there. Abby denies it, not wanting Eve to find out that Lily had been using them. Wes previously told the police that Abby and Lily had argued that night. Eve hears this for the first time, but Abby brushes it off as a normal sibling fight. Elsewhere, Rick's wife Zoe is shown at home, quietly counting days on a calendar as she hopes to have a child. On television, the news reports Lily's disappearance. Eve appears on screen, clearly distressed, asking for help and urging anyone with information to contact the police. The police organize a search team to comb the nearby forest, since the abandoned building is close to the woods. Rick joins the search and even volunteers to lead a group, claiming he knows the area well. Tommy suggests searching the right side of the forest, but Rick argues they should focus on the left instead. Tommy agrees and Rick takes charge of that group. Abby joins the search as well. A man named Archie also shows up. He is a friend of Wes and part of the party crowd. Archie approaches Abby, not to help with the search, but because he is worried she might tell the police about the drugs. The search begins. Abby is placed in Rick's group, but they find nothing. Along the way, Rick casually asks Abby if she finds anything suspicious about Wes, pointing out that people closest to the victim are often suspects. In reality, Rick is only trying to divert attention away from himself. Elsewhere, Lily wakes up in a basement room. Her body feels weak, and even moving is a struggle. One of her legs is chained, and a small amount of food has been left nearby. She tries desperately to free herself, but no matter how hard she struggles, it is useless. Not long after Rick appears. To the outside world, he looks like a model teacher. In reality, he is a child abductor. Rick's original target was Abby, but because Lily was wearing the jacket Abby had worn earlier, he took the wrong girl.
Nobody can hear you.
Lily soon realizes she is trapped deep in the forest, far from anyone who could help her. That is when the full weight of the danger finally sinks in. Back at home, life is falling apart for Abby and Eve as well. Eve, who struggles with alcoholism, spends her days drinking.
Mum, stop. But she wouldn't just disappear like that. She'd never leave us.
She questions whether Abby's fight with Lily had something to do with Wes, and Abby denies it. Eve lashes out at Abby, unfairly blaming her, even though Abby is also grieving Lily's disappearance. Abby leaves the house and unexpectedly runs into Wes, who is sitting alone. She confronts him about why he let Lily walk away that night without following her. Wes shifts the blame onto Abby, then realizes his words were harsh and apologizes. Abby admits she did not tell the police about the drugs. Wes says he does not care and insists she should tell the police anyway. Abby decides to head home. On the way, she runs into Rick at the exact spot where Lily was abducted. Rick offers her a ride, and Abby, unaware of who he really is, accepts. During the drive, Rick subtly plants doubts in Abby's mind, suggesting that Wes must somehow be connected to Lily's disappearance. He then turns toward Abby's neighborhood. Abby points out that he almost missed the turn, but this time Rick chooses not to abduct her and drops her off safely. Rick continues driving and receives a call from his wife, Zoe. He tells her he is heading to his cabin in the woods. As far as Zoe knows, Rick goes there to write a book. She has no idea her husband is a kidnapper. Soon after, Rick arrives at the cabin and heads straight to the basement where Lily is being held. He brings gifts with him. Lily hesitates, unsure whether she should accept anything from him. Rick forces her to comply. Inside the box is a piece of clothing. He wants her to wear it. When she refuses, Rick becomes violent, using pain and fear to break her will.
This is home. Look at all I've done to make this place nice and homely.
From then on, he begins calling her baby doll. 1 year passes after Lily's abduction. Zoe still has no idea about her husband's crimes, even though Rick visits the cabin almost every day. On this particular visit, Rick brings a large box with him. Before entering, he makes his presence known, following the routine he has created. By now, Lily has been conditioned. Whenever Rick arrives, she is expected to turn on music and act as if she misses him. After enduring constant abuse, Lily understands that surviving means playing along with his twisted rules. She opens the gift Rick brought, only to find a baby basket inside. Lily is heavily pregnant. The child she is carrying belongs to Rick. Meanwhile, Lily's disappearance weighs heavily on Abby. Guilt consumes her, and she copes by drinking more often and spending time with Archie. When Archie offers her a ride one night, Abby refuses and chooses to walk instead. On her way home, she passes a gas station and notices Wes working there. His life looks different now, more stable. Wes is aware that Abby has been hanging around Archie, someone he believes is a bad influence. He has cut ties with Archie himself and has stopped using drugs altogether. Abby reacts defensively and Wes cannot understand why she is so harsh toward him, especially since Lily was also once his girlfriend. Elsewhere, just as Abby once accused her mother of being a disgrace, Eve is now having an affair with Detective Tommy, even though he is married. The next day is Abby and Lily's birthday. Eve still refuses to give up hope and wants to continue searching for Lily. Later, Eve goes to a supermarket to buy alcohol. In the parking lot, she runs into Rick carrying flowers. She invites him to sit with her at a cafe. Eve is still drowning in grief over Lily's disappearance. Abby, overwhelmed by guilt, has put her life on hold and refuses to go to college or move forward. Eve, as a deeply flawed mother, has grown distant from Abby, making honest conversations almost impossible. Many people believe Lily simply ran away, but Eve knows her daughter would never leave like that. Rick avoids answering her questions and instead gives her his phone number, telling her to call if she ever needs to talk. Back in his car, Rick cannot stop laughing at the irony of Eve confiding in the very man who kidnapped her child. The flowers Rick bought are meant for Lily. With her birthday approaching, he brings her a gift, a doll. He notices scratch marks on Lily's arm. Lily explains that her baby wants to see the sunlight after spending an entire year trapped underground without ever seeing daylight. Realizing she may have gone too far and fearing Rick's reaction, Lily quickly tries to smooth things over. After a year passes, Zoe finally begins to feel suspicious. Without telling Rick, she visits the cabin. Inside, she finds the manuscript of Rick's novel titled Baby Doll. She does not find Rick there, because he is in the basement. Zoe never checks the basement and instead calls Rick. Outside the cabin, Rick calmly tells her he is out jogging in the woods. Rick is a master manipulator. He convinces Zoe to leave, claiming he needs privacy to focus on his writing. He accuses her of being possessive and frames it as a threat to their relationship. With carefully twisted logic, he makes Zoe believe she is at fault, leading her to apologize. During the call, Rick keeps Lily silent so she cannot make a sound. Rick later returns home to have dinner with Zoe. He scolds her for going to the cabin without telling him. Zoe confesses how lonely she has been, especially after recently suffering a miscarriage. She questions the meaning of Baby Doll. Realizing she read his novel, Rick lashes out and accuses her of invading his privacy. Once again, he twists the situation, making Zoe believe everything is her fault. It is clear Zoe is trapped in a toxic relationship. Completely under Rick's control, she is unable to see the truth for what it is. Elsewhere, Abby falls back into partying with Archie. After taking drugs, she becomes completely intoxicated. Archie is beside her and clearly tries to take advantage of the situation. But Abby still has enough strength to push him away, and Archie does not force it. Archie then makes a cruel remark, suggesting that Lily is probably already dead. Abby cannot stand hearing that and storms off. In a moment of reckless anger, she even sets Archie's car on fire, leaving him furious. Fortunately, Wes arrives in time and pulls Abby out of trouble. Abby herself is not in a good state. Even after Wes helps her, she does not thank him. Instead, she lashes out. Wes is genuinely worried about her, but Abby accuses him of pretending to be kind, as if he is hiding something. She feels like she is the only one truly suffering over Lily's disappearance, and that belief makes her act without caring about the consequences. Eventually, Abby realizes she has become someone she does not recognize. Wes drives Abby home, but Abby worries it will only make things worse if her mother sees him. Wes simply advises her to stop associating with Archie. When Abby gets home, she realizes Wes has brought her back safely. She feels guilty, believing it would be wrong if Lily ever knew she is now spending time with Wes, especially since Wes was once Lily's boyfriend. The next day at the cabin, Lily begins experiencing contractions, which alarms Rick. Lily uses this moment to attack him, choking him until he loses consciousness. She tries to escape, but the contractions are real and overwhelming. Before she can even leave the basement, the pain becomes too much and she passes out. When she wakes up, she is tied up again. With no other choice, Rick delivers the baby himself. After giving birth, Lily loses consciousness without ever seeing her child. Meanwhile, Abby and Wes begin seeing each other more often. Even though Lily's disappearance was not their fault, guilt still hangs over them for letting her walk away alone. Wes slowly rebuilds his life, while Abby spirals in the opposite direction. As a twin, Abby feels a deep instinct that Lily is still alive, and because of that feeling, she refuses to give up hope. Eventually, Abby returns home. Eve does not want the constant fighting to continue. She gives Abby a pen as a gift and suggests that maybe it is time for her to move forward and apply for college again. After Abby leaves, Eve quietly shows the gift she has prepared for Lily. That night, Abby cannot sleep and calls Wes, overwhelmed by loneliness. The following day at the cabin, Lily wakes up to devastating news from Rick. He claims her baby was a boy who died during childbirth. He blames the baby's death on Lily, insisting it happened because she tried to escape and fell. Lily does not believe him, but Rick continues, saying everything went wrong because she was disobedient. He claims the baby was the only thing he had been looking forward to, and even says he planned to name the child Sky. Believing her baby is dead shatters Lily completely. She feels there is no longer any reason to keep going. In despair, she smashes the ceramic doll Rick gave her. Not long after, Rick returns to the cabin and goes down to the basement, where he finds Lily lying on the floor, her hands covered in blood after attempting to end her life. She is still alive, and Rick manages to treat her wounds. Lily makes it clear she would try again. Rick, cold and calculating, responds with a threat. If Lily ever tries to harm herself again, he will kidnap Abby and replace her.
I held him in my arms.
You don't get to talk about him.
I'm the only one who knows how you're feeling. Nobody except me.
I'll do it again.
Faced with that reality, Lily is left with no real choice but to endure. Meanwhile, Eve and Abby refuse to stop searching for Lily. Even as the years pass, they never give up. For Lily, the thought of harming herself no longer crosses her mind, because staying alive is the only way to protect Abby from suffering the same fate. 5 years go by since Lily vanished, yet Abby still holds on to hope. During that time, Abby grows closer to Wes, even though Eve believes the relationship is a bad idea. One day after Rick finishes satisfying himself, he prepares to leave the cabin. Lily hears him lock the door and senses something is different. She checks carefully and realizes that for the first time in 5 years, the basement door has been left unlocked. She manages to open it, though the door leading upstairs is still locked. On the road, Rick suddenly realizes he forgot to lock the door and turns back immediately. Back at the cabin, Lily forces her way through the door to the upper floor. Now all she needs is a way out. The windows are boarded up, but she breaks through them. For the first time in years, she sees sunlight. Lily does not hesitate. She runs without direction, passing a lake surrounded by endless forests. Exhausted but determined, she keeps going until she finally reaches a road. She flags down a passing car and asks for help. Not long after, Lily is brought home. Eve is overwhelmed with joy. A man also arrives who turns out to be Eve's affair partner. Back at the cabin, Rick returns and realizes Lily has escaped. He immediately understands how serious the situation is. In a panic, he rushes home and tells Zoe that they need to leave right away, without explaining why. At this point, Zoe is raising a young daughter named Alice. Back at Lily's home, Wes drives Abby back. Abby does not tell Wes that Lily has already returned. Seeing Lily again fills Abby with happiness. She wants to know where Lily has been all these years, but Lily stays silent. She remembers how close Abby once was to Rick and does not feel ready to speak. Soon after, Detective Tommy and his partner Rachel arrive. They are the same officers who once led the search for Lily, even though it ultimately failed. Eve asks them to come because she wants Lily's kidnapper brought to justice. Lily is terrified of Rick, especially because he once threatened that if she ever escaped, Abby would be taken in her place. Still, if the kidnapper is ever going to be caught, Lily has to reveal who did this to her. After some hesitation, she finally tells the police that Rick was the one who kidnapped her. Tommy is stunned. The man he has been searching for all this time turns out to be Rick. He remembers that Rick led one of the search groups and now realizes that Rick may have deliberately guided the team away from the truth. Rachel and several officers rush to Rick and Zoe's house, but they arrive too late. Rick has already fled. Meanwhile, Lily is taken to the hospital for examination. Her back is covered in scars from years of abuse. Doctors also confirm that Lily has given birth in the past. Hearing this is too much for Eve to handle, and she steps out of the room. Abby goes after Eve to comfort her. Not long after, Wes calls. Eve believes it is better if Wes does not meet Lily yet. Abby tells Wes that Rick was the one who kidnapped Lily, but she still asks him to stay away from Lily for now. Meanwhile, Lily speaks with Rachel and explains that during her time at the cabin, she never saw anyone except Rick. The exact location of the cabin is still unknown, and Lily cannot remember precisely where it was. Elsewhere, Rick has not yet managed to leave town, but police have already secured the main routes out of the area as they hunt for him. Rick tells Zoe that the police are after him because a former student became obsessed and reported false accusations. Zoe believes him without questioning the story. At the same time, Lily and her family return home. Even so, Lily cannot feel safe while Rick is still free. Back with Rick, he and Zoe stop at a restaurant for lunch. There, Rick notices police searching the area. He tries to run, but officers surround him and arrest him. During questioning, Rick denies all of Lily's accusations.
Come on. You know what it's like. She hounded me for months.
He claims Lily was obsessed with him and framed him. Thankfully, Tommy does not blindly accept Rick's explanation. At the same moment, Rachel calls Tommy with new information. She has found the cabin, but Rick has already burned it down to destroy the evidence. Tommy immediately recognizes the location. It is the same area Rick once led during the search for Lily. Back at home, Abby checks her phone and sees the news that Rick has been arrested. For the first time, Lily can finally breathe and feel some sense of relief. Abby wants to tell her mother, but Eve is heavily sedated from sleeping pills. The next day, Lily asks Abby if she has heard anything from Wes. In Lily's mind, Wes is still her boyfriend, even after 5 long years. Later that day, Wes shows up, catching Abby completely off guard. Lily is overjoyed, and it turns out she was the one who invited him. Lily believes that now she is back, everything can return to the way it used to be, without realizing how much 5 years have changed everyone. They have lunch together, but the atmosphere is painfully awkward. Wes is now in a relationship with Abby, though Lily does not know this yet. To her, Wes is still her partner. While getting drinks, Abby accidentally drops a glass and spills it on Lily. Lily steps away to clean herself. Eve quietly believes inviting Wes was a mistake. Abby struggles with knowing when and how to tell Lily the truth. At that moment, Lily returns and overhears that Abby and Wes are now together.
Lily, I wanted to tell you.
How long have you two been, when did it start?
Lily feels deeply betrayed, as if after being kidnapped, her own sister started dating her boyfriend. Abby insists she never intended for this to happen. Instead of calming the situation, Eve joins in and blames Abby as well.
Wait, sorry, so the whole time I was down there, you two were what? You were living together?
No, we never meant to start anything.
No, I thought you were.
The following day, Abby approaches Lily again and apologizes, explaining she never meant to betray her. Lily refuses to listen. Convinced she will never be forgiven, Abby walks away. Abby decides to move out. For the past 3 years, she has been living with Wes, but now she wants to end the relationship.
So what, we're just done?
She's my sister. What else can I do?
She cannot stay at home with Lily either, so she chooses to stay elsewhere for the time being. Meanwhile, Rick is transferred to a detention facility while awaiting trial. Everyone knows he is a dangerous criminal. Someone like Rick quickly becomes the lowest target in prison and is likely to be attacked. For now, a female guard steps in to protect him. She advises Rick to find allies if he wants to survive inside. The next day, Zoe visits Rick. She is deeply confused by everything that has happened. Rick insists that he has been telling the truth all along. For a long time, Zoe has had doubts about him, but she chose to ignore them. She wonders whether Lily's accusations could be true. Rick denies it, yet Zoe cannot fully convince herself to believe him. Alice is the child Zoe has been raising as her daughter. The truth is, Alice is not actually their child. Rick reveals that Alice is Lily's baby. He claims that Lily's child was a boy who died at birth, but that turns out to be a lie. Zoe loves Alice deeply. Rick uses that love as leverage, threatening that if Zoe wants to stay with Alice, she must do exactly as he says. The story briefly shifts back to 4 years earlier. After Lily gave birth, Rick took the baby to his home and showed her to Zoe. He told Zoe that he had an affair and that the other woman became pregnant. According to Rick, he wanted the pregnancy ended, but he chose to raise the child instead. He believed this baby could save their marriage, especially since Zoe had suffered a miscarriage just months earlier. Because Zoe loved Rick and longed to be a mother, she chose to trust him. Back in the present, Tommy works to prove that Rick is indeed guilty. While reviewing past cases, he discovers another missing high school student from 7 years earlier. That girl attended a school where Rick used to teach. This raises a disturbing possibility that Lily was not Rick's first victim. The next morning, Abby wakes up at a friend's house. She becomes sick and starts vomiting, realizing she may be pregnant. At the same time, Lily wakes up at home and notices Abby's bed is empty. Later, Lily and Eve watch the news. Reporters are now targeting Zoe, but Zoe publicly states that she stands by her husband. Elsewhere, Tommy meets with Rick and brings up Isabel, the missing girl from Rick's former school. Isabel vanished years ago, and Tommy strongly suspects Rick is connected to her disappearance. Rick's lawyer asks for a private moment and advises Rick to confess to Lily's case. He suggests that Rick might only face around 10 years in prison. If Rick continues to deny everything, the Isabel case could make things far worse. Rick, however, has his own plan. He agrees to talk about Isabel, but only if he speaks directly to Lily. Tommy considers asking Lily for help, though Rachel believes it is a terrible idea. Tommy's concern is that Isabel could still be alive, and time may be running out. Tommy then meets with Lily and Eve to explain everything. Lily says that during her captivity, she never saw anyone other than Rick. However, she does remember seeing the letter I carved into a doorframe. Tommy explains that Rick will only talk if Lily is present. Lily immediately refuses. Tommy cannot force her, but he explains that her help could potentially save Isabel's life if she is still alive. Even after hearing that, Lily continues to refuse. Eve becomes furious and demands that Tommy leave. After that, Lily goes out on her own. People stare at her as if she does not belong anymore. Around the same time, she runs into Wes. Neither Wes, Lily, nor Eve knows where Abby is at this point. Wes expresses regret for everything that happened between them. Together, he and Lily head to the abandoned factory, where they used to spend time 5 years earlier. Lily asks Wes to stay with her for a moment. She tries to get close to him, but Wes pulls away. Lily becomes upset and wants to leave. This time, Wes does not let her walk away alone like before. Lily is overwhelmed by stress after being kidnapped and abused for 5 years, only to return and find that everything has changed. Wes explains that he has grown and become a different person. The person he loves now is Abby. Elsewhere, Abby returns home. Eve does not welcome her and instead scolds her for being unreachable. Abby wants to tell her something important, but Eve shows no care or patience. Feeling shut down, Abby stays silent. After taking a shower, Abby tries again, ready to speak. At that exact moment, Wes and Lily come back. Lily is emotionally drained and wants to go straight to her room. Wes, however, is more worried about Abby. Abby is torn inside. She loves Wes, but being with him feels like a betrayal to Lily. Eve steps in and asks Wes to leave. She says her family needs distance from him right now. Wes argues that Abby's an adult who can make her own choices. Eve fires back, reminding him that he once left Lily, and now he should be able to leave Abby too. Later, Abby goes to Lily's room to calm her down. Lily explains that she tried to kiss Wes, but he rejected her because his feelings are for Abby. Lily then shares her fear that she may not have been Rick's only victim. Suddenly, Abby feels nauseous and rushes to vomit. Lily quickly realizes that Abby is pregnant. Abby breaks down in tears and apologizes, admitting that she is pregnant with Wes's child. When they go downstairs, Eve already knows and reacts harshly, calling it the worst possible outcome for Lily. Abby feels once again that her mother never considers her feelings. The pregnancy was never planned, and it happened before Lily returned. Still, Eve clearly takes sides and chooses to blame Abby instead of trying to heal the situation. A loud crash comes from upstairs. They rush to check and find Lily smashing plates, refusing any help. She is exhausted and angry because everything around her has changed while she feels trapped in the past. Abby is consumed by guilt and even considers ending her pregnancy, but Eve immediately forbids it. Lily spent 5 years locked in a basement. In her pain, she believes that Eve and Abby never truly searched for her. That belief is not true, but it feels real to Lily. She begins to think that the only thing she can do now is help someone else. Lily decides that she will agree to speak with Rick about Isabel. Meanwhile, Zoe visits Rick in prison. His preliminary hearing is approaching, and Rick wants to make sure Zoe will support him. At the same time, another inmate spits on Rick. Zoe is shocked by how Rick is treated there. As she is leaving, she sees several inmates gathering outside Rick's cell, which is clearly a bad sign. When she enters, Rick is suddenly attacked by men much stronger than him.
Fucking nuts!
He survives, but his injuries are severe. A female guard takes Rick to the clinic for treatment. Rick knows the attacks will not stop. He tells the guard he is willing to do anything and hints that she can help him. The next day, the guard moves Rick from the general population to a safer area. In exchange, Rick is expected to provide favors for her. One day, a meeting between Rick and Lily is finally arranged. For Lily, facing him again after 5 years of captivity is incredibly difficult. Rick pushes for the meeting to be private, but Abby insists on staying by Lily's side. Eventually, Rick is brought into the room. Rick immediately tries to take control of the situation. The meeting goes nowhere. He denies kidnapping Lily and shifts blame onto her, calling her a liar. The tension rises, and Abby's anger becomes impossible to hide. Back at the station, Tommy is scolded by his superiors and regrets ever suggesting this meeting. Even so, he refuses to give up on finding Isabel. Elsewhere, Zoe visits Rick again. His preliminary trial is approaching, and Zoe's under immense pressure. Reporters constantly surround her, and at the same time she is struggling to care for Alice on her own. Rick wants to hear exactly what Zoe plans to say in court. During the conversation, Zoe unintentionally reveals that she has had feelings for Rick since she was very young. This makes it clear that Zoe herself is also one of Rick's victims. Rick prepares a script for Zoe to memorize, shaping a story where he appears as a good and misunderstood man. Back with Tommy, Rachel reports that no remains of Lily's baby or Isabel were found near the cabin. This leads Tommy to a disturbing thought. What if Lily's child never died? Lily believed her baby was a boy, but she never actually saw the child, meaning Rick could have lied. Tommy begins to suspect that Alice might actually be Lily's daughter. Rachel finds it hard to believe that any woman would accept that truth so easily. Still, Alice's age lines up perfectly with the time Lily gave birth. Tommy then visits Zoe and asks her to show Alice's birth certificate. Zoe is shocked but not afraid since she has official documents. The papers appear legitimate because Zoe never reported her miscarriage. As a result, Rick and Zoe claim that Zoe herself gave birth to Alice. Meanwhile, Lily discovers piles of birthday and Christmas gifts that Abby and Eve had prepared for her over the years. She refuses to open them. During her captivity, gifts were only given as rewards for obedience, and those memories still haunt her. Abby later approaches Eve, believing Lily needs her support. Eve responds that Lily needs space. Abby feels that her mother is doing nothing to repair the family. Instead, Eve lashes out at Abby, insulting her for being pregnant by Lily's former boyfriend. The next day is Rick's trial. Eve and Abby plan to attend. After Abby tries to wake Lily, but Lily refuses to go and becomes overwhelmed, forcing Abby to back off. At this point, Abby feels that everything she does is wrong. Eve decides that Lily does not need to be present at the trial after all. At the same time, Tommy arrives and asks to speak with Lily. Eve refuses to allow it. What Tommy wants to know is whether Lily actually saw her baby die, because he has a strong feeling that the child might still be alive. Eve forbids Abby from sharing this possibility with Lily, fearing that if it turns out to be false, it would only push Lily deeper into despair. Abby, however, decides to find the truth on her own and leaves by herself. Later, Eve goes to Lily and reflects on what Abby said earlier. For all this time, Eve has done nothing, believing that what Lily needed most was space and time alone. Lily wonders if she should attend the trial. Eve tells her that she does not need to see Rick ever again. Not long after, Wes arrives. Eve is about to leave for the courthouse and asks Wes to stay behind and watch over Lily. The situation is uncomfortable, but there is nothing left to hide anymore. With no better option, they decide to open the gifts that had been saved for Lily all these years. While doing so, Lily accidentally finds a diary written by Abby. Through its pages, Lily realizes that Abby and Eve never stopped searching for her during the 5 years she was gone. Even though their suffering was different from Lily's, they were hurting too. The diary was written every single day until Lily finally came home. Wes explains that Abby and Eve fought constantly during those years. He also shares that he wants to be present at Rick's trial. Lily suggests that he should go. Elsewhere, Abby goes to confront Zoe. Zoe does not want to speak, but Abby forces her way inside. Abby questions why Zoe continues to defend Rick. Zoe insists that Rick is a good man who made a single mistake. Abby points out that Rick held Lily captive for 5 years and even took her child. Abby believes Zoe knows this deep down, but is choosing to ignore the truth. At that moment, Alice appears. Seeing her, Abby immediately notices how much Alice resembles Lily. Zoe tries to force Abby out, but Abby refuses to leave.
Get the fuck out of my house. Rick told her that baby died. It didn't, did it?
Abby attempts to call the police, but Zoe pushes her. Abby falls, hits her head, and loses consciousness. Zoe panics when she sees blood on Abby's head. Meanwhile, at the police station, Tommy obtains Zoe's medical records. He discovers that 4.5 years earlier, Zoe underwent a hysterectomy, making it impossible for her to become pregnant. This confirms that Alice cannot be Zoe's biological child. Elsewhere, Rick's trial is about to begin. Eve is shocked when she sees Wes arrive, since she had asked him to stay with Lily. Shortly after, Rick is brought into the courtroom. He grows anxious when he realizes Zoe is not there. This initial hearing focuses only on whether Rick will plead guilty to the charges Lily has made against him. He is formally charged with 3 crimes. Rick denies every single accusation. Rick's legal team plans to use Zoe as a character witness in court. They grow uneasy when she arrives late. When Zoe finally appears, she is called to testify. Rick had carefully coached her on what to say, shaping her words to praise him. At first, Zoe follows the script, but midway through, something shifts. She turns against him and reveals that Rick is not a good man. Zoe explains that for nearly 5 years, Rick went to the cabin almost every day. He always claimed he was there to write a book, yet after all that time, the book showed no real progress. Zoe admits that she sensed something was wrong but chose to ignore it, pretending everything was fine. In the end, she confesses that Rick manipulated her. Not just her, but everyone he came into contact with. Allowing someone like Rick to remain free, she says, would be dangerous. Hearing this testimony, Rick loses control. He realizes his case is falling apart.
No! Why are you doing this? She's lying, Your Honor. What's wrong with you, Zoe?
At the same time, now convinced that Alice is not Zoe's child, Tommy heads to Zoe's house. Zoe is not there. Looking inside, Tommy finds Abby unconscious on the floor. The door had been locked. As Abby comes to, she tells Tommy that Alice is Lily's daughter. Abby is physically okay, and Tommy takes her home. Abby urges Tommy to find Alice as quickly as possible. She wants Lily to know that her child is still alive. But Lily has already read Abby's diaries and understands everything Abby and their mother went through while she was gone. Lily promises she wants to change and encourages Abby to move forward with her life as well. Abby then tells Lily about her encounter with Zoe and how she saw Alice. Abby explains that seeing the child made her believe even more strongly that Alice is Lily's daughter. Back at the courthouse, the hearing ends with Rick visibly shaken and furious. As he is being transferred back to detention, he suddenly convulses. He slams his head against his handcuffs until he is bleeding. A guard unlocks the cuffs to help him, giving Rick the opening he needs to attack and escape. Not long after, Tommy arrives with urgent news. Rick has escaped, and Lily and Abby are now in immediate danger. Eve explodes in anger, blaming the police for their failure. Tommy insists they need to prepare to move to a safe house. Before leaving, Lily suggests that Abby tell Wes about her pregnancy. Abby agrees and steps outside to tell him. Wes is shocked, but also genuinely happy. He loves Abby deeply. Abby, however, is still unsure. She feels completely lost and does not know what choice to make. As they prepare to leave, Eve receives a phone call. The caller says nothing. Lily instantly realizes it is Rick. She takes the phone and locks herself away. Rick refuses to reveal where he is. Lily presses him about why he lied about her child. Rick twists the truth, blaming everything on Lily and claiming it was her fault for attacking him. Rick is calling from a phone that does not belong to him, taken from someone he killed. He now has a car and the freedom to move. Lily comes back and reveals the truth to everyone. Alice is her child. Rick threatens that if Lily does not return to him, he will hurt Alice. Abby immediately believes this is another attempt at manipulation and begs Lily not to surrender herself. Tommy quickly moves Eve, Lily, and Abby to a safe house to protect them from Rick. Elsewhere, police locate Zoe. She is calm, holding Alice in her arms. They are on a bridge, surrounded, with no way out. Rachel carefully pleads with Zoe not to do anything reckless. Zoe loves Alice with all her heart. Knowing that Alice is not truly hers, she finally hands the child over to the police. In many ways, Zoe is also a victim of Rick's manipulation. Still, she feels like she has lost everything and begins to spiral. Rachel manages to stop her. Zoe breaks down, overwhelmed by pain and the realization that Rick lied to her all along. Rachel later informs Lily that Alice is now safe. However, Alice is not brought directly to Lily. For a child so young, everything would be confusing and traumatic. For now, Alice is placed in foster care, with the plan that Lily can visit her gradually and rebuild a connection over time. The biggest danger remains Rick, whose whereabouts are still unknown. Just hearing this sends Lily into a panic attack. Living in constant fear feels unbearable, worse than the pain she already survived. That night, Lily and Abby sleep in the same room. In the middle of the night, Rick enters the safe house. Tommy is still awake, and the door is unlocked. Rick sees Eve sleeping but leaves her untouched. He walks into the bedroom and looks at Abby and Lily as they sleep. Lily wakes up with a strong sense that Rick is near. She does not wake Abby and quietly checks the room. In her fear, she sees Rick and reaches out to him, only to realize it is a nightmare. The terror is enough to send her into hysteria. At sunrise, Abby comes to a painful realization. As long as Rick is alive, Lily will never be able to live in peace. Abby quietly leaves the safe house. She knows exactly the kind of man Rick is, and believes he will return to the burned cabin where he kept Lily for 5 years. The place is abandoned, but Abby is certain Rick will go back there. Armed with a knife, Abby searches the cabin room by room. No one is there. The only place left unchecked is the basement. Suddenly, Rick appears. At first, he thinks Lily has come back, but he quickly realizes it is Abby. Back at the safe house, Lily wakes up and sees that Abby's gone. She alerts Tommy and realizes she knows where Abby must have gone. At the cabin, Abby confronts Rick, determined to kill him. Instead, she is quickly overpowered.
Stay back, Rick! Stay away from me, Rick!
Rick pushes her down into the basement. Abby still has her knife and manages to stab Rick. Though not fatally, she recognizes the basement as the place where Lily was imprisoned for 5 years. Rick reveals that Abby was his original target and Lily was taken by mistake. Hearing this only fuels Abby's rage. She attacks again, but Rick is stronger and turns the situation around. In a final struggle, Abby grabs the knife and stabs Rick in the neck. This time, the wound is fatal. Rick bleeds to death. Soon after, the police arrive. Lily sees Abby standing over Rick's body, realizing what her sister has done. Sometime later, the remains of Isabel are discovered in the area surrounding the cabin. In the aftermath, Abby's pregnancy continues, and she and Wes prepare to start a family together. Lily begins visiting Alice regularly. The transition is slow and painful, but step by step, their lives begin to move forward. So the moral of the story is that losing someone can steal years from everyone, even after they finally come back.